if you have a joke T-shirt as a souvenir, it just makes you look like an idiot. Like those are the kind of shirts that nobody's like, oh, funny T-shirt, Carl. Okay, so think back to a previous job that you have had, one that at the time you were kind of okay with it, but in hindsight, you really didn't like it. How much money would it take you to go back to that job? Like, how much of an increase in wages would it take you to go back?
And it has to be like the job that I hated the most.
No, not the job that you hated the most. Just, okay, so for example, for me, like I used to be a reporter in Orlando, Florida. I liked it when I was there, but now you'd have to raise my salary by about 300% to get me to go back there. Like, I don't think that I would do it for. I mean, if it was cash money and I really started to think about it, maybe I would go back for double. But I really think that you would have to pay me triple or more to get me to go back.
The few jobs I can think of that I have no interest in ever revisiting, I made so little money at anyways that my number is going to sound astronomical. But that's only because I made so little. But it would have to be 1,000%, 500%.
It really would take me a lot of money for me to go back to a job that I really didn't like. Like, you would have to be talking about double, triple at the least.
And I don't think any money, especially as I get older, I have no, I have no desire to ever put myself in a situation like that ever again.
I do think it's interesting, though, how you can be okay with a situation at one point of time in your life, and then looking back on it, would never want to go back.
I feel like a lot of it is, being young and trying to get established in whatever business or just trying to hold a job. So you do certain things or you let certain things go that, people who are older wouldn't. I will say this, there's one job that I actually wish I had a do-over at because I royally effed it up when I was given the opportunity the first time. And that was being part of a construction crew.
How many jobs have you been fired from in your life?
Three jobs in my life.
I really feel like you should get fired from at least one job. Like, if you don't get fired, you weren't really maximizing that job to your advantage and either like not doing the work or like trying too hard. I've been fired from 4. I've been so 2 of them my contract wasn't renewed, which is the same thing as kind of being fired. One, I was gonna be fired if I didn't just quit, and I was fired essentially for stealing alcohol as a teenager from a grocery store, which I technically didn't do.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was gonna say sure you didn't.
I bet that guy was so mad because he knew it was me who was doing it, and I just sat in his office, was like, nope, wasn't me.
The 2 jobs that I actually got fired from, the construction and I worked at I don't know if they have them down in Kansas or wherever you lived, but at Farmer Jack's, it's a grocery store chain.
Okay, you got fired from a grocery store. Good, both of us have been fired from a grocery store.
I did, yeah. Wasn't for stealing. Mine was probably, I still don't understand the reason, but the shift manager that I was working under that shift walked up to me and said that I was too qualified and I was making others feel like I was doing too much and I was putting them down, and fired me for that. So I still don't really know what that was about. But
dude, he just didn't. Did they seem to like you?
Yeah, I mean, I was a teenager. I was a kid. I don't know. I just oh God.
He thought he was doing you a favor.
Well, thinking back on it, I think that I was that employee that, if there was an open lane in my lane, if I wasn't helping backing, I would jump into another lane and help. Or if somebody, I just wanted to stay busy. I was 16 years old, 17. I just wanted to help.
Yeah, you can't try that hard at work, especially if it's a job that, like, you don't have to try this hard. You don't want to be a go-getter. Like, who's the guy who can sack the most groceries, man? Like, you're making other people look bad, and they don't like that.
Funny, not funny story. I do remember I did overstep my place with that job probably 3 weeks in, and I was stacking, like in the soup aisle, and there was this pretty girl down the way. She was, like, doing cheeses or something. And she looked at me, and I thought, okay, all right, we'll see what I can do here. and I misplaced a can and basically like drove the can I was holding into a bunch of other cans, and it started this chain reaction, and probably 50 cans fell on the floor.
God, so you tried to be cool and immediately looked like an idiot.
Absolutely. In my blue vest and my khaki pants that were probably too short.
Oh, yeah. I would say that anytime people pay attention to me, there's a good chance I'm going to embarrass myself. Like, I don't think that I'm ever going to, like, if somebody ever said, like, do something to make yourself look cool, like, I would trip down the stairs or something like that.
Actually, thinking about it, I mean, the reason why I got fired from construction was I had never done construction, and I was under the table, and they give me a jackhammer and tell me to cut out a 2x2 square in the earth. And I didn't tell them I had no idea how to use a jackhammer, and it was brutal. It ended up costing the crew like $20,000 because they had to like cut up a bigger part of the pavement, and it was just a whole thing. But really, it wasn't my fault. Once again,
it was your fault. Like, number one, you shouldn't have been hired for that place, but then also you should have mentioned, like, I don't know how to use a jackhammer. That's not the kind of thing that you just want to go ahead. It's not like a hammer. You know, like, that's the kind of heavy machinery is the kind of thing you shouldn't be operating if you didn't know how to use it. I wouldn't fire you because you didn't know how to use the thing. I would fire you because you tried to use a piece of heavy machinery that you didn't know how to use.
To be fair, can you actually be fired if you're never a legal employee? I was definitely under the table, and I was definitely handed the jackhammer because one of the guys on the crew was either messing with me, or he looked at me and he said, "You're a big old guy. You should be able to handle this jackhammer." And that's how it all unfolded.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not technically fired, but you're no longer employed.
The foreman walked up to my buddy's dad and was like, "I don't know where you got this kid from, but he doesn't know what a straight line is." And that was
oh, my God. How did you go from being overqualified at the grocery store to a complete incompetent boob at the construction site?
You know, I don't know why, but that's a great word to like use in that context. I don't know why. An incompetent boob.
Yeah, that's exactly, because that incompetent is a word that I like to use. Incompetent doofus. Like, I love calling somebody a doofus, a boob, those kind of things. Apparently, though, our sentiments are pretty accurate with the audience. Most people would really want to get paid a lot more money to go back to a job they didn't like. 9% said 10 to 50% or more. 30% said 50 to 100% more. 28% said 100 to 250% more. And then 33% said 250% or more. So more than half of the audience would want 100% or more to go back to a job that they didn't like. Like, money isn't everything. It's everything, but it's not everything in a weird way.
All right, let's give some shout-outs here. Let's start with Angela Tarcoma, Wayne DeLofter, Lex Sarcoma? That seemed a lot different when I put that down.
Sarcoma, I believe, is a type of cancer.
I bet you it's not the last name, and my notes switched it to sarcoma.
Probably not.
Lex, I apologize. Kenneth Johnson, Naib Shiraz, Luca Brazzi, Tommy Lee. I looked it up. It's not the Tommy Lee. That would be pretty cool if he listened to our podcast. Kobe Haddad, Joseph Ringard, Brian McAllister, Rob Plua, and we'll end here with a longtime listener of the show, Randy Herkowitz. So appreciate all of you.
A lot of Herkowitzes. Not a lot of Waynes anymore.
Yeah, definitely not a lot of Waynes. I actually don't. I've never liked. Do you know any Waynes that you actually like?
No. Sorry, Waynes. I know one guy named Wayne, and he was an awkward guy. He was hard to have a conversation with. And a friend of mine, thankfully this was not me, but a friend of mine went on a road trip with him, 5-hour road trip. And when they got in the car, he turned off the radio and said, "Let's spend the next 5 hours telling jokes." And it was the most awkward. That's one of those situations I'm like, God, thank God I didn't go down that trip.
Yeah, that would have been kind of brutal.
Yeah, no, I don't know a lot of good Waynes.
I have an Uncle Wayne.
Oh, I have an Uncle Wayne, too. He's cool. But he's Uncle Wayne. He's not just straight Wayne.
I mean, I guess mine's Uncle Wayne, and I don't mind disparaging him on a public forum. because he's not the greatest human being. But all I will say is that he was named after John Wayne. So that should tell you a lot about where he was going to go in life.
I always found it fascinating that John Wayne is held up as this symbol of American masculinity and patriotism, but yet he didn't fight in World War II and stayed home to make movies. Like, we always do the opposite of something. I know there's a lot more to it than that, but still, I always found that interesting. It's like, he got famous for making movies about a war that he didn't fight in.
And listen, I'm going to take it. Well, I debated talking about this or wanting to bring it up to you, but I do think it is important, and I am curious to get your opinions on it. And we can skip past if you don't want to talk about it, but I feel like we have to bring it up because it's the biggest news story, and I think it's going to be the biggest story maybe of this
what is it?
Decade. The Diddy stuff that came out.
That's crazy. I don't know exactly what's involved, but you and I used to work in the news business, you still work in the news business, know that if Homeland Security is involved and they're like raiding your house, you did, like, you're going to be in for it a little bit. But that's insane. He was, man.
You know,
it's huge.
But it seems like it was well known, and multiple people, hundreds of people knew about it. And I'm not saying he's guilty or innocent, but like Nick just said, Homeland Security doesn't just raid multiple houses and arrest you usually for no reason. But regardless, yeah. And then what's really gotten me is I've kind of bought into the bullshit, conspiracy theories where people post videos and like, oh hey, look at Justin Bieber when he was 12 years old and he stayed 2 nights at Diddy's house and Diddy talks about how they're gonna have so much fun, and it's like maybe there was something there, and everyone just turned their eyes to it like that. It's terrible. It's
like the Harvey Weinstein thing. This is a part of a slightly broader rant to go all into this. This is why I don't want to hear from any celebrities about any kind of social causes, because if it behooves them too, they don't have any more principles than anybody else. You know, like Diddy, like they all knew, everybody knew what Harvey Weinstein was doing. Like everybody kind of knew who Diddy was. They were okay with it. Now, like, don't give me this show now.
I hate to say it because I don't have a lot of facts to back up much of it, but I feel like the bigger celebrity you are, probably the shittier of a person you are.
Oh, I think that that's true for just about everything. I don't think there's no clean way to $1 billion. I think the more successful somebody is, the dirtier somebody probably is. Because you have to be willing to step on people.
Or sexually assault and do all these terrible things to people.
But was he with men or was he with women? That's the part that I wasn't completely sure of. Or was he just doing all kinds of stuff?
Once again, I'm only going by what's trickled out in the internet, and that could be completely false. But it seems like he was involved with everybody, males, females, and then there's clips of different celebrities that would attend his parties, and they'd put stuff out there, about how crazy they were and the orgies and this and that, and the Aaliyah story is a big one. The late, well, I guess not late, she died like 20 years ago, but that everyone had said that she was groomed, and she died, and then it all went away, and then you start doing a deep dive, and it's like, man, maybe he really was like grooming her. It's insane.
And he wasn't a guy that had like an image, like a dirty, shady image, if I remember right. Like, for example, Suge Knight, which may be maybe before some people's times, but like Suge Knight was a guy that like you always knew that he was kind of a bad dude and that he was maybe running real close to the other side of the law. And there's some other people that are like that too, but I never really remember thinking that way of P. Diddy, that he was a guy like that was on the other side of the law and doing those kind of things.
No, because I think what he did that many didn't do was he, at the time at least, was he got involved with philanthropy, and he had all kinds of businesses and all this other stuff. Then he's a well-known producer.
It's a really kind of, that story is gonna really keep going, because how many people did he know that were there that are really worried right now? Because I would say it's probably a lot, and they're potentially criminally liable for all of that too. Like if you were at that party, you're criminally liable as well.
I mean, thinking about it from a law, and I'm sure we're getting boring now, but thinking of it from a law enforcement standpoint, holy cow, that investigation had to have spanned years.
Oh, that's big. And the other thing is too is that usually when people like cop a plea deal or try to get out of it, they have to kind of rat on the person higher up. But they already got the person at the top. So if you're below, there's nobody to rat on.
Yeah.
So like you're in a lot of trouble in that regards too, because like, well, I'll give you information. Like, well, no, we already got it. We don't need that.
And he was involved in he was involved across the board, as where, the Weinstein stuff was kind of segregated to one specific part of Hollywood. Diddy was across the board with everybody. I mean, not saying this is any implicative
right
at all.
I know what you mean.
But there's pictures of him with NBA executives and, the Obamas. I mean, who knows? And all these people attended parties. Does that make them accessories? Like, who knows?
Yeah, I think it does. I don't know how much you have to participate in it necessarily, but like you were there, you knew what was going on. He's not going to be like the only domino that falls. But that's just why I don't like whenever celebrities go on their social causes, like I don't buy into any of that stuff because like you knew what he was doing. You knew what Harvey Weinstein was doing and you didn't say anything. So now don't get on a moral high horse about it.
It's like I don't want to jump on, and continue this conversation for much longer, but it's like the Justin Timberlake stuff to me about how he came out during COVID and said how tough parenting was 24/7. Like, who can do this? And then he gets a DUI, and now he's trying to be an advocate for, mothers against drunk driving. It's like, dude, nobody believes you.
Nobody believes you. Nobody believes you.
Like,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, anyways, I think it's interesting. We'll probably talk about the Diddy stuff for many weeks to come, because I think it's just getting started. Let's see. The other part of that I wanted to ask you about, which is just, it's more fun than anything. So take away the fact that he used to host these parties, but white parties where you have to dress up in anything white. I'm a bigger guy. I don't wear a lot of white. I would never even think about going to a white party because I don't want to wear white pants. I don't want to wear white shorts. I don't want to wear white anything.
If it's a good party, it's just going to be all stained. Like, I don't understand the practical. Like, if you're not rich or a celebrity, you can't have a white party because you're never going to be able to wear those clothes again. If it's a good party, that's how you know you're rich, is when you're going to, like, it's all white because we can afford new clothes. Like, I'm not going to an all-white party, man. I need to wear these pants for at least the next 2 years.
Well, that's why maybe we should have our own white party, but say, like, stains are encouraged.
Have you ever worn anything white in your lower half? Like, I don't own a single pair of white shorts or white pants. And I don't think I ever would. Like, no way.
Not white, no. I mean, I have, like, beige and tan, but straight white, other than whitey-tighties, no.
No, whitey-tighties. And that's really the only reason you can get away with whitey-tighties, because you're supposed to at least wear them, where they're not going to get stained. Or where the stains aren't going to be seen. You still have stains on your underwear that you wear? You still have skid marks on your underwear as an adult? You ever look back there and be like, oh, there's a stain there?
I don't look because I don't want to know. And when laundry happens,
that's a fair answer.
I just throw the underwear in a drawer. I don't want to know. I don't think I do, but also I don't check on a regular basis.
What's the longest you think that you should own a pair of underwear? Is there a cap on terms of how many months or how long you should own a pair of underwear before you should just throw it out regardless of what it looks like?
No, I do have maybe it's a general rule that I follow, but as soon as a hole develops anywhere, it's gone. It could even be like a small hole, and it gets thrown out. Same thing with socks and shirts.
I think you shouldn't keep any underwear for longer than a year. Like, you just need to every year, you need to throw them all out and start again.
I mean, comparatively to other pieces of clothing, Underwear are not expensive to buy, so you could do that technically.
You should probably do that. Like if the choice is buying a new shirt or basically redoing all of your underwear, you should probably buy new underwear. That's my official position on this.
The only I expected us to talk a lot about Diddy, which we did. The only other thing, we'll skip a couple here. I wanted to ask you. So they released a video of the Titan submersible being found on the ocean floor. Yeah, that was the one last summer that imploded. Am I wrong in thinking that no one truly gave a shit about this story, and they just keep jamming it down our throats for some reason?
I would say you're wrong about that. Because the reason is it's like billionaires or people with a lot of money. It kind of showcases in some ways that, like, look, maybe these people who are supposed to be held up as being so smart and so all this, maybe they really didn't think this through because they ultimately signed up for, like, a trip to the bottom of the ocean in a thing that really shouldn't have been going to the bottom of the ocean, right?
A tin can, man. I mean, essentially, that's what it was. Yeah, I guess the only saving grace was at least they died instantly. Because could you imagine, like, drowning? I mean, you're not floating back to the surface at that point. Like, Oh,
no. If I was in a situation like that where, like, you were going to run out of oxygen and drown in the ocean, I'd be like, look, so how are we going to do this? Like, you grab that one knife, I'll grab this knife, and we're going to take each other out before this end comes. Like, I'm going out my own way.
Do you think that you think you could stab me like that if we tried it? I don't know if I could actually go through with it.
Oh, I don't know if I actually could.
I'm not sure.
I always think about those things like on movies and TV shows where they show somebody like hitting somebody else with a bat or a hammer. I don't think that I could do that.
Man, it's funny it's not to keep talking, but it's funny you say that because the wife and I were having a conversation about how our attitudes have changed regarding TV shows and movies, specifically with The Walking Dead, how people used to hate that show because they would spend 4 episodes building up to a main character having to possibly kill another main character for whatever reason, and then they just kind of skated around it or whatever. But it's like, as you get older, it's like, I don't want to have to kill my best friend if they're a zombie. Like, that sucks, you know? Like,
yeah, I don't think I could. If somebody broke into my house and, like, where my family is, I think all bets are off. But I couldn't, like, walk up behind somebody, or not walk up behind, but somebody, like, hit somebody with, like, a bat, knowing, like, oh, what's that going to do to them? I don't think I could do that.
I think if I was in a fit of rage, I could. Obviously, the house thing goes, my dog would get them before I ever got the chance, so I'm okay with that. But
okay, all right. Do you have anything else?
No, let's go on to let's take a little trip.
Oh, nice or bad? I'm not sure which one. So our top 5 is top 5 worst souvenirs. Just like things that people buy when they go traveling, and you're just, what is this piece of junk?
Well, I wish you had said it a little more convicted there. Like, what is this piece of shit?
What is this? I don't buy things on vacation. I'm not buying anything on a vacation that I'm going to actually want. Like, what do I want with that? Anyway, what's your number 5?
So this is the only one that I've actually bought myself, but I regret it every time, and I never wear them. And that is, like, commemorative T-shirts.
Oh, I have that much higher on the list.
Oh man,
wait a minute. Now, I'm okay. I'm okay with a decent... If you're going to buy clothing, you can only buy, like, a T-shirt, or if you're, like, shopping at some high-end place or whatever, right? You can only buy, like, a nicer quality one. You can't get the 3 for $9.99 or 3 for $19.99. You got to pay more than $20 for a shirt, and it's got to be slightly tasteful. I'll go into this more, but because I have that higher on the list. My number 5 is a book of postcards. I don't want any postcards. Like, who are you sending these postcards to? Because if I know you well enough, like, you're just sending me a picture. Like, I don't want your stupid postcard, man.
Who are you sending these to?
Who are you sending these postcards to? Like, they don't want them. If they care about you, they already know. And you sent them pictures. They don't need a postcard. Like, that's just a waste of paper.
Can you say, have you ever received those before?
No, I've never gotten a postcard, I don't think, in my life.
Wow, okay. That's
I
impressive.
don't think I've ever gotten a postcard.
That's impressive. Do you want me to send you one from the great state of Michigan?
Maybe a little bit, but
I'm going to send you one now. I'm going to send you one.
Okay, send it. Make it a postcard from Detroit, and there's probably like a crime scene and a body in the background.
I'll put some gunpowder on it. Give you the real smell and effect.
The real smell of Detroit, right? And make sure you add in like the collapse of the whole city.
For all of you listening that may not have ever visited Detroit, it's not like that at all. It may have been at one point, but it's not like that anymore. It's a great city to come visit, and I recommend it. My number 4, and I actually don't mind these things, but I'll never buy them, and I never want to be given a pair, and that's like sunglasses.
Oh, from a souvenir?
Yeah, like they can have like the city on the side, or they're always cheap, and they even if you're gifted them, they never last more than a week because you either lose them or they're cheap plastic and they snap in half, and it's just. And you know what I'm talking about. Every major city has those stores, you know, like the tourist gift shops, and there's the 6 rotating things that have nothing but sunglasses on them.
Do you still have your third base coach sunglasses?
I don't, and I really regret. I lost them at a wedding playing drunk golf, and I regret it.
John used to have these sunglasses that looked like he was a third base coach from the 1990s. Looked like Boomer Esiason's, not Boomer Esiason, but like the Boz's shady brother-in-law kind of stuff.
I'm starting to look more and more. I'm starting to look more and more like a third base coach the older I get. So I got to do something here.
You are starting to look like a third base coach.
I gotta look at this shit. Chia pet hair. Anyways,
yeah, you're starting to look at. My number 4 is any kind of receipt, ticket stubs, boarding passes, anything like that. Like, why are you keeping that? You're going to look at that someday? Like, why are you keeping that other than, like, I'm going to put this on my wall, and you just have a bunch of junk sitting around? Nobody cares about your boarding pass.
This is, I thought you may bring something up like this. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with, like, a few things, like boarding passes, what are they called? Like, the things you put drinks on, like at bars.
Oh, coaster. I'm okay with a coaster.
Like a coaster, you know, like maybe commemorative programs or something if you go see a show or a sport or something. I'm okay with those. I am. It has to be, to me, a good souvenir has to be something that is individual and isn't just like, hey, I walked into, you know, the dollar store just to bring you back something.
Are you fighting a hiccup or a burp?
You can hear that? God
yeah, dude, I can see it too.
Well, I had shawarma for lunch, and my heartburn's pretty bad. So I don't know if it was a throw up or like an actual burp, but I did it back down. So we're good now.
I can't eat a big lunch. I would almost go through an entire work day eating nothing but like a light breakfast, like a granola bar, and then I'll just raw dog the whole rest of the day until I get home.
Oh. Anyways, raw dog. Well,
yeah, number 3.
We're 12 years old. I don't necessarily mind these, but these are annoying, and I feel like if you get them, the people who give them to you expect you to display them, and they are magnets.
Oh, I don't mind a magnet for my own personal thing, but don't you dare get me a magnet. I don't want anything from anybody else's trip. Like, I don't want your crap that you bought. Just
exactly. That's the best. I don't even need to continue. That is the best way to put it. I don't want your crap, and I don't want you to think that like you were being thoughtful when you were just standing in line and they were right there, and you're like, oh, they want a magnet from Atlanta. That's cool.
And you probably didn't even buy it in Atlanta. You probably bought it in the airport in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's like, a good point.
God, we got to get something for John. What are we going to get him? Get him a magnet. Like, no, don't get me anything. Man. That's, to me, is the present. Don't get me anything. My number 3 is currency, because I have no use for pesos or yen or the denarii or any other thing. Like, what do you just literally just wasting money. You're never going to use that. You can keep it in your wallet and just bring it out and look at it at times to make yourself happy. Like, it's just a total waste. Take a picture of it. There you go.
I get it. I'm okay with it just because, once again, I feel like it's kind of like one of those individualized gifts. It's kind of cool to see other countries' currencies, but yeah, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with a denarii? Like,
is that? I don't know if that's a real dollar thing, but anyway. But that's not the point. Yeah. Like, imagine getting somebody like foreign currency as a gift. Like, thanks for this yen. I'm sure gonna use that in Wichita, Kansas. You got me a gift I literally have no use for.
Going to the Purple Pig with this dollar.
Oh, I think it closed down. It's a bar I used to.
I'm sorry. It's called. So I feel like we have to say the right word there because I don't know what you were going for, but it's just a dinar. D-I-N-A-R.
Oh, it's a dinar.
Yeah. So you get credit for getting close enough, I think.
I just added one extra letter, the E, I believe. What's your number 2?
So I feel like 1 and 2 are pretty interchangeable. Probably we have the same mixture, I think. But my number 2 are keychains.
Oh yeah, that's a waste.
I don't want your keychain, man. Like, not at all.
No, I don't want anything to do with it. Like I said, I don't know if I said this or not, but I'm gonna say it again. I don't want any gift from anyone else's vacation.
You definitely seem like the kind of guy that if I were to hand you, like, I don't know, just name a city, a Charleston, like a keychain from Charleston, you're going to be like, oh, great, and then just chuck it into the ocean or something.
I would like to put it directly in the trash in front of them. Like, hey, got you this keychain from my trip to Boise, Idaho.
Yeah, it's from Boise.
I don't care.
Thank you.
What am I going to do with this? Because at least, like, other things, like a T-shirt, you can at least use that as a rag. Or, like, this is my painting shirt or my mowing shirt. Like, what am I going to do with an extra... Like,
Meemaw Anderson got me this tie-dye T-shirt from Palm Beach.
Oh, my God. Well, I guess I'm going to... There's a new rag to clean the kitchen.
Yeah, no kidding.
My number 2 is the shot glass.
Okay.
Only cool if you're not actually of legal drinking age.
I mean... So I don't have shot glass on my list. I haven't received that many, I guess. I feel like that was like an older generation thing. I don't know. I don't receive very many, or people think I'm an alcoholic and don't want to promote it. I don't know.
You only need one shot glass in the house. You need one shot glass in the house, and that's pretty much it. How many pairs of tongs do you have now, by the way?
I mean, less than 10. Probably. Oh, you know what? I did get some pretty sweet salad tongs, which I can put the dressing in the tong, and as I'm mixing it, I can like release a little dressing so it evenly coats the, instead of just pouring it in. It's pretty awesome, actually.
Oh, okay. That's just that's one of those fake reasons to enjoy something. Like, no, this allows me to really evenly coat the salad. Or you could just use any regular tongs and it would do the exact same thing.
You know what? I made swordfish the other night and it was fantastic. So get off my back about it.
Oh, really? Well, I had McDonald's and that was fantastic. And then I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and that was really good.
I mean, listen, we all put our time and effort into other things. You like to have some extracurriculars and have a dance party. I'd like to spend time on dinner. It's fine.
Okay, well, I mean, one's fun, one's over in a second. What's your number 1?
Like your love life. Hey-o.
I wish.
What?
I'd rather get it over with faster.
For both parties' sake, right?
Like, we've all been down this road before. There's no reason to make the drive longer.
It's purely recreational at this point.
Purely recreational.
Yeah. All right.
2 minutes.
My number 1, and I thought about putting shot glass, but once again, I don't get enough. But one thing I get plenty of that just I don't even want them are bumper stickers.
Oh, I forgot about bumper stickers entirely. That's a good one.
Yeah. Like I'm not. First of all, I'm never gonna display it, and they're always usually some stupid catchphrase that's just corny as hell. And yeah, I get that they're cheap. And I get that they're kind of flashy sometimes, but like I don't want them. Don't give them to me.
I am not a religious person, but I've seen a religious bumper sticker recently that I thought was pretty funny. I said, "I hope you follow Jesus this closely." It's like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
Like,
that's pretty funny.
That's pretty good. I've seen a couple that were kind of funny. I don't think that you should ever have no more than 3 bumper stickers. No more than 3 stickers on your car, period. Like, I don't want to see your journey from running the 5K to the 13.1 to the 26 point. Like, I don't care.
It's kind of like tattoos to me. I don't care. You know, I'm not going to ask you questions. I don't look at the tattoos. I don't look at the bumper stickers and think like, oh man, that's cool. You have a dinosaur family. You must have 3 kids and a husband and a great dog. Like, I don't care. Like, bumper stickers on cars make no sense to me.
I've seen a baby one though that said like "baby up in this bitch," and I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
it's hard to get a good
gonna have a great life.
Also, you don't need more than 1 political bumper sticker. You don't need to have like Obama, Biden, and then Harris walls or something like that. Like, if you'd only need 1 bumper sticker to tell me your political affiliation, you don't need to go down the whole list.
I mean, there's a house not literally within walking distance of my house that has 27 political signs up. So
you only need 1, and then like, look, I know the whole rest of the way you're going. Like, you don't need to tell me that.
My wife and I always joke because what do the neighbors think? Like, that person, there's Bob putting out another sign again.
Like, once you have more than 1, because once you have more than 3 bumper stickers or any kind of thing, like, you just lose all the effect. Gradually becomes, the total value becomes less and less and less.
All right, what's your number 1?
Joke T-shirts.
Yeah, those are terrible.
Those, like, if you have a joke T-shirt as a souvenir, it just makes you look like an idiot. Like, those are the kind of shirts that nobody's like, oh, funny T-shirt, Carl. They're just like, man, you're wearing that?
Yeah. And, like, you're wearing it with pride? Like, we're going out tonight. Like, why are you wearing, you know.
You can't have a joke T-shirt.
I saw, I conquered Washington State T-shirt. You know what I mean? Like,
no, you can't have any of that. Or, like, the bee fell off. Like, no, you can't. Like, you can't wear a shirt with a cuss word on it. Nobody should own a shirt with a cuss word on it. Or any kind of profanity or obscenity. It just makes you look like an idiot.
I just think you wear it knowing you want attention. So I immediately don't want to give you the attention.
If you have one of those shirts, I immediately ignore the shirt in all its forms.
Yeah, and usually I'll
ignore a person.
I'll ignore you too.
Okay. Do you have any honorable mentions?
The shot glasses. I don't know how common these are. I've received them twice now. But like towels, like beach towels or like hand towels that say like, you know, the city or the event.
I mean, at least it's a towel. At least a towel is always useful. Like, I would never, if somebody got me that though, I would never throw it away because I was like, well, it's a towel.
Paint.
You never know when you're gonna need that.
Gonna go use this to clean off my sand wedge. And then this is kind of specific to me, but I've been given like baseballs and footballs that have like pictures of the city or like an attraction on it, and I'm like, I don't want these. I'm never gonna display them.
People don't usually give me gifts, maybe because I don't want them, and they can just tell that I don't want them.
Yeah, you definitely have that face.
Yeah, like, don't buy me anything because I'm not gonna want it. I
get out of here.
Not getting things.
Well, guess what? You'll never get a gift from me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, I don't have anything in my honorable mention. Maybe I actually like snow globes.
You want a Detroit snow globe?
No, I don't.
With real dust and everything in it? Maybe I just got
from the crumbling city of Detroit. That should be pretty easy to get.